Welcome in to Scoop du Jour, Lisa McCaffrey. We've been chit-chatting this whole time before we hit record, so I am just excited to welcome you in.
Oh, I thought that was a podcast already. I thought it was done. Sorry.
I know. I mean, we could have been done already. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. You are a wife, a mom of 4, a podcast host in her own right, a former soccer star. You're all the things.
Oh gosh, it doesn't seem like that. No, tell my kids that.
It was funny. I was listening to your one of your episodes of your podcast, which is called Your Mom, which is adorable, and I want to get into. But it was cute because you were like, "This is such a good opportunity for me to brag on my kids, but I want to brag on you for a little bit, and I want you to brag on yourself."
Oh gosh.
Talk to me. And it's hard for people to do, right? Like my producer on this is always like, get stuff in about yourself, like talk about yourself. And it's always funny to do that. But at least when you're on the other side of the mic, like you are today, you'll get to do that. So I want to talk about all the things. I always like to start with people's kind of career path and those parts of who they are. So talk to me about like just who you are as an athlete, because I think that's so fascinating. You're the daughter of an Olympian you're a soccer star, and then you go to Stanford. How did that all work out? How'd you pick your school?
Well, as we were talking before, I grew up in Miami, Florida, and I had visited a bunch of schools, and so it was right at the time when women's soccer was sort of like, getting looked at, people were starting to notice, and they were just starting to have some scholarship opportunities for women. And it was a good time to be a women's soccer player. I'll say that, Title IX was, evolving, and it was kind of a good time. So I rode that wave, and I looked at some schools in the Northeast during the winter, and then I visited Stanford in the spring, and I'm like, wow, if I can get into this school, this is where I want to be, because it was just magical. It was beautiful. So I met with the soccer coach, and I ended up getting in. That was like one of the best days of my life, I remember. And went to Stanford, and I met, like, I swear the best part about Stanford is meeting the other students. They're just the contacts, and the people were just amazing. Women on my soccer team that still to this day, they shock me. They're just so accomplished and so amazing that it was such a fun group to be a part of. And we weren't crazy good at the time. We were sort of mediocre, but we were building, and you kind of felt the wave. Like I knew after I graduated, I'm like, wow, they're going to be good. And they ended up going on. And a bunch of women that were, played with Julie Foudy, was on, the women's national team. And it was really neat experience. And I went and played, and then I ended up hurting my back. So that was kind of a bummer. And it scared me big time. And so I stopped playing after that. And then I took up running, of all things, which actually sounds weird because I had a bad back, but it helped my back. So it kind of kept my spine in line, which is weird. But I have been running ever since. And so now that Christian's back there, every time we go back, I have my first like running route I used to run around campus. So every time we go back to California, I do my route, and it's so fun. It's so nostalgic, and it's really neat. So I love that. And that keeps me sane. That's advice to moms out there. I'll say this: run or exercise, whatever it is, but take time for yourself. And that sort of kept me going all these years. But anyway, Ed and I met in college, and then he got drafted by the Giants. And I was very thankful for that, because I thought, okay, New York, I can get a job there. So we moved, we lived in Sin, as we were talking about earlier, which you would never do, right?
No, never. Don't live with my boyfriend without a ring, without being married.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Never do that. Anyway, but I got a job in the city working in public relations, and we actually lived in New Jersey, and I'd have to commute every day into New York City. I'd take a bus, and then a train, and then walk. And it was I had my tennis shoes on, and I'd switched to my heels for my job. So anyway, I worked in PR for 3 years, and then I got pregnant and had our first son, and right when Ed got cut too by the Giants. And then we moved to San Fran for 1 year, and he rode that wave, and they won a Super Bowl, which was so fantastic, which is kind of neat. So that was a great experience. And we had our son, and we were only there for about 9 or 10 months. And then we picked up, and Mike Shanahan saw something in Ed and said, hey, why don't you come to the Broncos? So we did. And we've lived here in Denver for 28 years and had 4 boys. We lived here. So That's my life in a nutshell. Except, and then and then after raising all the kids, they all play sports. So I've been all over. I can drive anywhere. That's my gift. I can cook, I can drive. That
You
I can.
drive? You
I
don't
drive.
fly? You
Oh
drive
no, no,
to
well, when they were in high school, I
oh, no,
learned
no.
how
Okay, I get
to
it.
drive. I can get you to any gym, football field, any rec center in all of Colorado. That's my gift. So I can get you there. And then I learned to cook. And then yeah, then they all moved away, empty nesters, and I started a podcast called Your Mom with Ashley Adamson. So
I love
that's
it.
very, there's a lot that happened in between, but that's it in a nutshell. So
Okay, let's get to the in between. So after college, being an NFL wife, that's a hard gig that a lot of people think is kind of glamorous. But like you said, the moving around, you're in one place for 9 months, you're in one place for 11 months, you're moving across the country from Miami to Palo Alto to New Jersey. Talk to me about that lifestyle.
yeah, that is it's not glamorous. I'll say that right there. People, I know, I don't know why they, yeah, maybe I thought it was walking into it, but man, woo, it is not. No, you're sort of behind the scenes. It's like a duck, that's like on top of the water, and then underneath the legs are just moving really fast, and I'm the legs down below, and Ed's on top of playing and whatnot, and we're all down below trying to make sort everything and move and get everything organized. And yeah, it's you have to be able to be transient in this job, as Christian learned this year. So yeah, it's not, it definitely isn't easy. And, but I mean, there are some amazing things that come with it as well. Get pretty good seats to games. So that's kind of fun, but yeah, behind the scenes, and, he's doing that with babies, and Ed's not very home. He wasn't home very much, especially when they were little. I always joke, I'm like, yeah, you missed the really hard part. You were out playing football, and then all of a sudden all the kids are out of diapers, walking, they can feed themselves, and then you decide to retire. I'm like, you
Right.
for the easy part, the fun part. So but yeah, no, it was a lot. And then four, like an idiot, we had four. So whew, yeah, and all boys. We kept trying for a girl though.
Yes. Okay. So I heard you say that, I think on one of your shows too. Like, uh, I, people say, like, I'm just happy with any healthy child. And I know you are the same, but you probably at one point you were like, we'll have a boy, and then we wanted a girl. So
Yes.
you said you thought that Christian was going to be a girl. And then when you found out, what happened?
Oh, this I so bad. He hates when I tell the story, but I don't know why I just knew that I was going to have all boys. The minute the doctor said, "Oh, congrats, you're having another boy," and I cried. I feel so bad to this day because I love them so much, every one of them, and I couldn't imagine life without any of them. But I just knew when they said he was a boy that if we were to ever, that I just knew I'd have all boys. I don't know why, but I figured out why though. Actually, now after the
Why?
fact. So here's a little trick of the trade if you're looking. So I noticed, and this is speculation, that in the NFL, the guys that would take hot tubs in general had girls. The guys that would do the cold tubs would mostly have boys. And that, I'm telling you, I know like
Stop
four
it.
different people that held true. Ed was a huge cold tub guy, which I didn't know at the time. Obviously, had I known, I would have been sticking his nuts in a hot tub. But sorry,
Oh my
but
God, wait, that is so funny.
I don't, yeah, and that I just noticed that is just a general trend. So anyway, that's my
And then
theory.
did you guys know you wanted 4 children?
Well, we had the three, and we weren't really talking about it. And then Luke kind of just sort of like slipped in there. It wasn't like we said we wanted. It wasn't like we sat down and said we wanted four. It just kind of was sort of a whirlwind, and now I know how it works. And hey, done.
Yeah,
We're done. So
I
yeah,
get it,
it
yeah.
kind of happened. So no,
Did
but
you both have big families?
I didn't have, I was the youngest by a lot of years. So I like didn't really have siblings. And my husband is the oldest of five. So he had a pretty big family, but so yeah, yes, he did. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so talk us through. Most people, I think, know who you are. I probably should have introduced you as a mom of 4 boys, but they're 4 pretty prestigious boys, all of whom played football. One is currently in the NFL on the 49ers. I want to talk about that moment too, but they're all at, like, they played at these amazing colleges and they're doing these amazing things. Tell us who they are and where they are now.
Well, they can read, so that's a good start.
Okay, they can read,
Okay.
they can walk, they can talk. That's good.
Yes, so that's
Right,
good.
right,
Check, check, check.
good.
And I used to say, "Oh, none of them have tattoos," but that ship sailed. Now they almost
Ah,
none of them has tattoos. Anyway, okay, so yes, the oldest is Max, and he played at Duke, was a receiver at Duke, and then was on like 8 different teams in the NFL, mostly practice squads and whatnot, and played for about 4 years, and then retired, and then went into coaching, and that's where he is now. He's in limbo. He's got a couple opportunities, and he's waiting for the season to end, so he's actually enjoying his downtime right now, but
nice.
getting ready to make a big move here. So I don't know exactly where it'll be. Otherwise, I'd tell you, but stay tuned. So yeah, he's enjoying life right now. He's a girlfriend that they're not engaged. But we're all eagerly awaiting every one of my friends. Every time I see them, when are they engaged? When are they getting engaged? And I backed off. I'm not going
Yes,
to be that mom anymore. I
good
stopped
mom.
asking.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So anyway, that's Max. He's 28. And then Christian is on the 49ers. He is 26, and he was on the Panthers, and he went to Stanford, didn't graduate. He dropped out, and he's the one with the tattoos. So maybe there's a correlation.
College dropout with tattoos. Oh my
Yes,
God.
loser. No,
So unsuccessful.
it's such a loser. So, yep, he's on the 49ers, and yep, they're having a nice little run. So it's been fun. So we've been going out there quite a bit. So to visit him, and he has a girlfriend, and they're not engaged either. So anyway, that's his life. And then who's next? Dylan went to Michigan undergrad and then just got an MBA at University of Northern Colorado. And he is also in limbo right now, trying to figure out what he wants to do, what he wants to pursue. So he looks at it like he's stressed and trying to figure it out. And I'm like, Dylan, you know, this is amazing. This is the most
Yeah.
beautiful time. You have, you know, a net to fall back on. Whatever you do, we're right here, but go for whatever you want. So he is trying to figure life out. So if anybody out there has any suggestions for him, he is 23, and he is trying to figure it out. He doesn't know if he wants to pursue the football route still. He was a quarterback, and he's trying to figure it out. Let's say that. But he's got a little window here, and so he is working on it. And then Luke is I don't know what year he is, because when football years, it's so
Yeah.
odd. But he did graduate. He just got his degree from Rice University in Houston, which is good. And he just got in the master's or the MBA program there,
Oh,
which is
awesome.
cool. Yeah, so proud of him. And he has 2 more years of football eligibility. How about that? Does that count?
Okay.
And he
That
was
we can understand.
yeah, he was a quarterback, and he originally went to Nebraska, and then he transferred to Rice, and we switched positions to wide receiver, and it's been great. He loves it. He loves that position. Even he loves it way more. It's suited for his personality. He's a little hyper and kind of excited. So in quarterback, you kind of need to be a little bit more level headed. So he is loving it, and yeah, they had a pretty good year last year, and yeah, he's looking forward to the upcoming year, and hopefully he can figure out this MBA program and try to fake it that he's smart. So,
Well, I was going to say, I mean, these are all smart guys because you don't go to those schools just to play football. What people don't know is those are schools that you have to qualify academically. So, what's in the water at your house, athletically and academically? Because you're coming from smart parents too. I mean, you're doing something right.
have you met Ed? No, no, honestly, I have to, it's not even that there's nothing in the water. We just put an emphasis on academics from day one. We just said, look, if your grades slip, you can't play sports. So,
Yeah.
we made them, we thought that was a priority because you never know, football's so fleeting, and
Mhm.
you never know what's going to happen. So we always thought you have to have something to fall back on, and, don't put your academics aside. So we just made that an emphasis. And they sort of took to it. And I'm really proud that they went to good schools, and all of them except Christian got degrees. So, loser, but that's okay. No, hopefully he'll go back one day and finish. But yeah, no, we just emphasized that. We just thought it was really important.
What was it like for you as a parent to go through the recruiting process with all of them? I always wonder about that other side. When I was in college, I worked in recruiting at UNC, and it was always neat to see the parents come through too. And they had a lot of questions. But you went through it as a student athlete yourself too. So I wonder what that was like doing it as a student athlete and then as a parent.
Yeah, it had changed so much from the time I went through, but the time and it even changed so much from the time Max went through, my oldest to my youngest
Yeah.
Luke. Wow, was it a different experience? Yeah, I remember taking them to different schools, and everybody was bragging on their shiny new locker room and their
Right.
beautiful field, and everyone had upgrades. They put so much money into these schools. It's
Oh, yeah.
insane. And I just tried to tell my kids, look, hey, don't get caught up in all of that. Let's look at substance, What about the coach? Is the coach going to be there? Do they have a system that fits your style? All those things. Is it a place that if football didn't work out, you could see yourself thriving regardless? So yeah, we all those questions, I think, you had to pull them aside and not fall into like, oh, look at the great uniforms and the helmets. So that's all superficial and fleeting. So make sure that you're proud and you're happy and you're going to thrive where you are despite football. But anyway, football, they ended up working out for all of them. They ended up all playing through. So except, well, Luke transferred, but other than that, it worked out. But he's thriving now where he is. So yeah, it's changed a lot. And then now with the NIL things, it is just haywire. It's insane. So it's a little crazy.
Yeah. So was that something that was hard for any of your boys to not be able to, or some of the older boys to not be able to go through the NIL stuff and then to like not, like
none of them are bitter or bitter.
Yeah,
but
that's fun.
they're happy. They're like, finally, they're like, oh, good. They're on board with that. I'll be honest, after everything they went through. And I remember Christian one time was at a gas station in Palo Alto, and somebody offered to buy him gas. So he's like, oh, they recognize him. They're like, oh my gosh, let me get your gas for you. That's the least I can do. And he's like, hey, look, buddy, if I take that, I could be kicked off the team. I'm not even allowed to get gas money. So, and trust me, we paid a lot of money for his gas and his parking tickets. So we built half of that stadium with his parking tickets. So
you're so funny. On Instagram for one of your boys, you were like, now pay your parking tickets. They must all have parking tickets.
Oh, they all do. It's insane. Oh, we went and visited Luke the other day, and his front seat is just stocked full of parking tickets. I'm like, they're like, but it's cheaper than actually paying. I'm like, they had some rationalization. I'm like, no, it's not. Not when you don't pay and it keeps accruing more and more money. You're an idiot. So
men always have some kind of rationalization for stuff like that. I'm like, if you just did the one thing up front and didn't like procrastinate on that one thing, it would make more sense.
Right. And it would not be quite as much money. So, anyway. When
Christian decided on Stanford, was that a special moment, obviously, for you and your husband?
Yes. Yeah, it was. We so badly didn't want to be the parents that pushed him in any direction. Yeah. And I took him to, oh my gosh, we went to so many recruiting visits. I mean, it was fun, but it was a lot. So he really did, shop around and really open his mind and really think about it. But ultimately, he thought that was the best place for him. And we just loved Coach Shaw and everything Stanford had to offer, obviously. So yeah, I was, deep down inside but I didn't want to show it too much just because I wanted him to have his own experience. So, but yeah, of course I was excited. So was Ed.
Oh, I bet. Stanford is like one of I think the most beautiful college campus I've ever been to. And I'm sure you're biased, but it's right. It's like there's no college campus that looks like it, right? There are a few that look similar, but none look like Stanford. And then your husband got into coaching.
He did. Yes, he did. He started out with Little League, all through Little League, and he, kind of coached. He'd never coached Christian in Little League, but he coached the others, and not Max. Oh, yeah, he did coach Max as well. Yeah, and then he got into high school, coached there for 2 years, and then went on and coached at University of Northern Colorado for 3 years, and then now he's not coaching. I think he might be done with the coaching.
Okay. What will that be like for you guys to spend time together? Like, or just to have like more time? Because coaching life is similar to NFL life, right? Like,
it's insane. You don't ever see it. Oh, it's I have to be. At first, you're like, wait, why are you here? What are you doing? And then you get used to him being around, and I kind of like it because everyone's like, oh, you're empty nesters now. And I'm like, well, not really. I'm actually kind of like alone because he's gone all the time. So, no, it's actually been the best thing that's ever happened to us. I'll be honest. So it's wonderful, I have to say. Yeah, and he's so much happier. We're happy. Let's just say that.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's nice. So we're trying to figure out. It's nice. He can go to games with me. Yay! I was like the single mom going through airports and going to games.
Right. Besides, like all the travel to see your boys probably on Saturdays and Sundays, what else do you guys like to do together?
Oh gosh, this is such a bad habit, but we watch some Netflix and
that's a great habit.
That's it. I guess it's good. There's so many good shows out there. How do you not? So we do that. Well, we don't do it in the day, but late at night, we'll let ourselves watch. And if it's a really good show, we found ourselves looking at the clock and it's 2 or 3 in the morning, and that's not a good habit. But we do. We'll work out together, sort of. He's trying to get back in shape, which is nice too. So I think it's good for his health. So because I still run, which I'm sort of obsessed with and I love. And so he's getting back into it. So, which is awesome. Yeah. So we love to do that. And, and when it's good weather, we'll sometimes go and play tennis, just whatever, just for fun. Although it sometimes ends up in a fight, but that's okay. Because we're not competitive, are we? We're not. No, we learned on our honeymoon that we cannot play board games against each other. So we learned that day one, and that's why we've been married for 30 years. So yeah.
Well, I mean, 30 years is something pretty cool. Like, what's the best piece of advice you would have? I mean, you have two sons who have long-term girlfriends, like you said, and maybe one day getting toward that. What would be your advice for them or for anyone else looking for a future like that?
I mean, it's well, number one with us, don't play board games together.
Okay. Noted.
Number one. Number two, well, big one, don't cheat. It's huge need these days. That's a pretty big one. Yeah, let's not cheat. Let's be honest with each other. And three, I would just say open lines of communication. And one thing we've learned as we've moved along is it's okay to be vulnerable with each other, and that makes you closer. So, which is nice. We have a room upstairs that we're like, okay, we need to like hunker down and talk. Like if you feel kind of disconnected from each other after a while, we'll sort of say, hey, meet in the front room. It's this, we call it the music room, the piano room. We're like, okay, we go in there and we'll just talk about whatever feeling. And even if it's not about each other, about something you're feeling, about an issue you're having or stuff, we've tried to do that more and more. So that's been kind of nice. So just keep lines of communication open and be honest with each other and be willing to be vulnerable. So with each other.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you guys mentioned, obviously you have to travel a lot to support your family, but do you guys get to travel like to any places just for fun?
We do. Yes. And that's another thing we're doing. That was his resolution at the beginning of the year. He said, each month I want to do something fun. So he has all these like weird things planned out for the year. Like he wants to go to the Sundance film festival.
Cool. Yeah.
And then we've had, so I used to be afraid of flying. This is so stupid. So I passed up so many trips that he had like organized and done, but I'm not afraid anymore. So anyway, we're going to take advantage of that and maybe go to Europe together in February, and then March, probably somewhere warm. I don't know. He's got a couple things planned, and his goal is to do something really fun once a month of this year. So 12 really fun little excursions. So even if it's for a weekend and stuff, January is hard. I hope that our January excursion is just going out to San Fran and enjoying those games. So that would be nice. So stay tuned. But we love going to Cabo down there because it's easy flight, super warm, beautiful. Lots of our friends go down there. So we go down with friends, which is really nice. That's sort of our go-to, but
I love that resolution. Like, and that's so good for couples too, right? Like to plan something together, even if it's like small, it's just like a good thing to get together. You also, I mentioned, I wanted to ask you guys what it was like for your family to just at least find out that not only was Christian being traded to the 49ers, but also to a place that was a little bit closer for you guys and a place that has some meaning for your family, being that Ed played there for a season. Take me back to that moment, that one you kind of called in a way.
Oh, I know. We literally manifested it on your mom, on our podcast. That was so, and at the time in my head, I really didn't think it was going to happen. I promise you that night, the night that he officially got traded, obviously you hear rumors. I'm like, I don't know if this will happen. And I heard that it might happen earlier in the week. And then when it didn't happen, I honestly didn't think it was going to happen. And then I think it was Thursday night. I was actually driving and I was talking to my youngest son on the phone, and we had a long conversation, and we just thought he was going to the Rams. We're like, oh, he'll be at the Rams. And we were justifying that. It's going to be great for XYZ, Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp's there. So it's wonderful, blah, blah, blah. So we were justifying that. And then the next day I get home, I'm like washing my face, and then my phone rings, and it's like 11 at night. It's late. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Christian. And so I pick up, and all he said was Niners. And I'm like,
oh,
what?
Wow.
Honest to God, it was like, I was shocked. So, and Ed was secretly hoping it was the Niners too, just because it's familiar. Ed loves that offense. We all do, it's such a so creative. Kyle is so creative. He's such we've got to play with Mike, obviously. It was just he really is a Mike's the mastermind and Kyle's the genius. And truly they are, so it was just, we've always watched that offense, and we just thought that would be a really good fit for him. So, when it was the Niners, I was shocked, but ecstatic because we had so many connections there. It's been wonderful. It's been amazing going back there, and people have been so nice to him and taken him in under their wing and helped him, acclimate and find housing for him and whatnot. So that has been wonderful. And I've got to reconnect with some of my friends. And so it's been really fun for me too. So I'm excited every weekend to go out there. And the other thing is, when he joined the team, they had so many home games in a row. I feel like we're out there. I think we were 5 weekends in a row we were out there. So, which is kind of crazy, but anyway, it was at first you're kind of shocked, and then you're worried, and then you're happy. That's sort of our the gauntlet of emotions.
Spoken like a true parent. I got
Yeah.
goosebumps, like, hearing him just say that though, because like, I can recall many times, not as an athlete, but just calling my parents, like, so excited with news that you just can't even, like,
Yeah.
explain or figure out how to say it. You just scream it or say the first thing that's on your mind, so I love that story. Um,
Yeah, that was 11 at night. It was the final, and he was on a plane at 8 in the morning going out there and hasn't been back to Carolina with all his house, all his stuff. He hasn't been
that was
back
my
to
next question. So,
Yeah.
do you help your boys now that they're grown, like, move stuff, or do their significant others? How does that part all work?
Yeah, okay, so he has his best friend growing up is kind of his manager, and he's
Nice.
like a 5th son to me. He's amazing. His name's Tim, and he helped manage that, and that he's like a godsend. I'm so that he's and
Amazing.
I think he moved out there, and he pays them. It's not like, just a friend thing. Because he does a lot of work, and he pretty much orchestrated the whole thing. To be honest, I didn't have to do that much. I mean, I helped him a little bit, talking through stuff and whatnot, but for the most part, Tim did everything, and we helped him get housing just with connections and whatnot, but Tim did everything, which is nice. So, and
Oh,
Tim since has gone back and checked on his house and stuff. So he helps manage because he has to.
yeah.
He has no time. It's hard for me. I don't live there, so it's hard for me to do it. I'd have to be flying all over. So it's Tim. It's been a blessing to have Tim around. So, and he's a wonderful kid. So appreciate
That's
him.
so nice.
Shout out to
And then
Tim.
so in the off season, will he move back to Carolina, or he'll kind of move his life to California?
That's a great question. I'll let you know because he doesn't. I definitely think for part of the offseason he'll go back to his house and train there. He's got all his equipment and he's got a nice little setup, and so I do think he'll do some training there for sure. And he loves his house and everything whatnot. But I think he'll start looking for a permanent living solution, probably in around San Fran. Moving forward, but he doesn't even, we don't even talk about it right now.
No, I get that, right? Like, it's like one day at a time.
Right.
Um, One podcast that I listened to, daily, it had, Olivia Culpo
Uh-huh.
on as a guest who, if for those who don't know, is the girlfriend of your son, Christian. And, one thing I thought that was so sweet, that and actually I was listening to it today because it was the last episode of last year. She was mentioning, just how close you 2 are, and I think, like, all girlfriends, significant others can wish is, like, to be close with your significant other's family, and sometimes it comes more naturally than others. And I'm curious from your perspective, like, what goes into being close with your son's significant other, if it's just kind of being who you are?
Oh, that's a really good question. Yeah, I get asked things like that a lot, because I'm bringing in a lot of daughter-in-laws, potential daughter-in-law here. So, and some people, yeah, no, I have to be honest. I am so thankful, A, that there's somebody out there that likes my kid. Like,
Yeah.
wow, first and foremost. B, I don't have girls, so I'm just like so excited. I'm probably too excited, and I'll just kind of grab them. I'm like, oh, let's go do crafts. Let's go get our nails done. But no, and Olivia in particular, she quarantined with us, her sister. We had
Yes.
10 people quarantined in our house for 93 days. We marked it off. So, and I just look back at that time and I'm so thankful that time. I got to know her so well. And I could not have more respect for anybody. She is the hardest worker, and such just a great person. You see her Instagram and she's just beautiful and does all these things. But man, I'm so thankful I've got to know her as a person deep down inside. She's just a wonderful person, and she's so good for Christian. I can't even stand it. They're so good for each other. And my friend and I, my best friend and I, one day went out to lunch and we were just talking about, he didn't have a girlfriend at the time. We're like, gosh, I just wish Christian will find somebody that has something going on for herself. That's just, like a good person. And, and I don't know, everything we wished for came to fruition. And then all of a sudden Olivia appeared and is literally everything we said. So, and she is so good for him, for his mentality and everything. And I appreciate her so much. I love her. So
It's
thankful
so
for her.
sweet.
And
It's
all
just so
all
nice.
the girls. So.
Yeah. The quarantine thing is so funny and cute, and obviously just, like, such a special thing. Like, I mean, I don't even think I would be able to. I love my family to death, but staying with your family, I guess maybe it's different when it's not your own family too. But that is, like, it's such a funny, just thing that y'all did. How did that come to be? Were you guys just kind of, you got stuck and then it happened?
Yeah, basically, yes. Yeah, Olivia and her sister and Christian were flying in. Like, obviously, nobody knew what was going to happen.
Right.
They were coming in anyway, and I guess it was the day, I forget what day, March 20th, around there, that
Yeah.
everything was like officially locked down, and they had been flying in. They had just flown in the exact day, and they were there. And then the other ones had happened to be home for spring break and whatnot. And then
Yeah.
some of them had other girlfriends that kind of came in and out, and it just kind of happened. We all were just here, and thank God, because we had plenty of room. We lived kind of a foresty area, so it's spread out, which was nice. So, and we just said, look, this is the most depressing time in the world. We're going to make it fun. We're going to just at least, so we tried to do once a week, we tried to do like a pizza night. We did a
Cute.
prom. We tried to do something fun every week so we wouldn't all be depressed. And of course we have to Instagram everything, because
Oh, yeah.
Olivia and her sisters, Instagram queens. So we Instagram, and we did that, which makes it look like all we did was party and have fun and everything, which it was, but there, don't worry, there was downtime too. And there were fights, and there's the next day, I should have recorded the cleanup, because there was a couple of nights that it was crazy. And then the next day we woke up and it looked like a bomb hit up in our kitchen. So, but anyway, it was just so fun. It was fun to get to know her. And I was so thankful I had girls with me, because if it was
Yeah.
just me and all those boys and Ed, that would have been really, really hard. I'll be honest. So I am so happy. And Olivia's sister is a really good cook. She loves to cook. So she and I were in the kitchen a lot cooking. So that was really fun. So we had a really good time. I felt kind of guilty that when we started having a lot of fun, we'd sit and be like, wow, we shouldn't be having this much fun. Anyway.
Right. So many people aren't enjoying it, but I'm having a ton of fun.
I know, but we're going to try to make it fun. So, and then my husband had a different vision of what quarantine was going to be like when they said everything's locked down. He had gone to the store and bought like a bizarre amount of cans of tuna, and he thought it was just going to be he and I. It was going to be like this romantic time. We're like hunkered down, and he was like worried about like rationing food. I'm like, it was the complete opposite. He'd wake up in the morning and someone's doing like a live feed in the kitchen. He's like, because I just want a bowl of oatmeal. Like, why are there people live
And tuna.
streaming? Yeah, this is so odd. So
I was wanting tuna. That's so funny. I feel like that always happens for like the men in your family. Like even I'm just home sometimes with my mom and we're just like, oh, we saw this thing on TikTok we have to try. And my dad's like, but why? Like, like, can you guys calm down for a few? I love what you said before about Olivia or just you wished for any of your boys to have a woman in their life that had something for themselves and then they could be with your son. And I like how you decided to have something for yourself when you started your podcast. And I was listening to how you were asked to do it and you were just like, yeah, let's do it. Talk to me about that decision and how you just wanted to have this thing for yourself and how it came to be and that how that journey has been for you.
Yeah, it was like it fell in my lap at the perfect time. I'll be honest. It was what Ashley Adamson, who I do the podcast, Your Mom with, she just called me and I was driving. I had this like hour and a half drive and I was by myself listening to music and I'm like, gosh, here I go again, following my husband to, his next job. And I'm like, gosh, I really need to do something for myself. I got a degree, I can read. And she literally called as these thoughts were going through my mind. I swear we've had so many odd moments, so many like epiphanies, and we've manifested things that have come true. And it's I don't know. I just feel like we're on to something. Like we're on something. But anyway, she just said, hey, I remember, when I interviewed you way back when Ed Christian was up for the Heisman and got to know you. And I've always had this idea in the back of my head. I want to like celebrate women, celebrate moms, particularly moms who have kids who have had some sort of success, and highlight them, and we can learn from them and interview them and celebrate them and learn, the good, the bad, the ugly. Because, parenting is tough. It's ugly but it's wonderful. It's the best and worst thing you'll ever do in your whole entire life, but it is life changing. And no one can tell you exactly what to expect until you're in it. And anyway, we just thought we could interview these moms and get to know them and see their style and see if there's any link to, their secret or whatever they did to raise these kids. And I'm like, wow, this sounds wonderful. This sounds exactly what I like to do. And I don't know, we hit it off, and it took a little while to get its legs and get it, start it. It took like 6 months prior to prepare to get it worked out, get all the kinks worked out. And man, it's been wonderful. It's kind of taken off and we're really proud of it. And it's awesome. And the funniest thing is I feel like we're best friends with every single mom we've interviewed. And every one of them is a special in their own way and very different. Everybody had a very different parenting style, which you think everyone everyone's going to be the same with these successful kids, but it's not, that couldn't be further from the truth. So, hey, to all those moms out there, just, hey, you're doing fine. Like there's no secret recipe. So, which that's been kind of eye opening. So we thought we'd find some like little secret, but there really isn't. So anyway, yeah, no, it's sort of, and I was so proud to do something for myself too. And I have to say, my husband and all my boys they're proud of me too. They're cute. They're really supportive. And I appreciate that. So, cause I've been like in their eyes, like a mom and sort of a slave to them in a way, driving them around, cooking for them and, helping them with this, with their dreams, but now they're older. They don't need me as much anymore, which is nice. So I'm glad I've kind of doing something for myself. So.
And isn't it just fun too? Like you're so easy to talk to and just to be able to like let other people like just do the thing that kind of comes naturally, right? Like you said, you were a mom, it came naturally to you and just talk to people and learn from them. And I loved this project for me too, because it's like it's natural and it's fun and it is a challenge in a way, but it's also like enjoyable.
Right.
And I think
And
that's
I'm
so
glad you said you now have a 9 to 5 job, but you're doing this, you're still keeping your foot in this, which is great. So, I mean, you're awesome. So
yeah.
good
No,
job.
it's so fun. And so I'm curious, loaded question, but like a
Oh,
piece of advice you've learned from your podcast and then your best piece of advice
oh,
that you
for
offer. What's
parenting.
your yes,
Oh,
what like piece of advice do you offer to your boys?
oh gosh. Well, none of them are parents yet. Let's get engaged first. One thing at a time. But
You said you weren't gonna push them though.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I'm not pushing anybody, but come on, you're 28. Let's go. Let's see. What piece of advice? I would just say, you first off, you have to let go of control. You can't control anything. Every kid's going to come out with their own personality, their own style. And as a parent, you almost have to adjust to them and let them be them. I think there were times that I messed up and tried to be like, oh, well, study and you can't get bad grades. And they, that was very important. And I just wish I had let go of some of that looking back a little bit more. But also just, I talked to Ashley about this too, because she has little kids, like appreciate the small stuff, like sit down, like and play trains and color and do whatever, do those little things. Cause that's, how that and let the kids be them. Don't try to micromanage. Let them be them and let them explore. Let them play, and don't forget play and downtime. I don't know. I just think that's really important. And it's messy and it's never going to be perfect. And life is never going to be perfect. But just enjoy the ride and enjoy the messiness. And then what was the other question? What I would give to my kids in particular?
Yes.
Oh
Or
God.
just I always like to ask people like the best piece of advice they offer or like their favorite piece of advice.
Don't I don't know, I would just say don't lose yourself, be yourself. And the only other thing that we always have a sign up, it's called integrity. Just treat everybody the same, be kind to everybody. And if you're having a bad day or you don't feel good, don't take it out on somebody else. I don't know. Yeah, that's the only little piece of advice I'd give, I
No,
guess.
it's a good one.
Eh,
Okay, before I let you go, some rapid fire, like the best game you've been to as a fan.
Rose Bowl, 2016 Rose Bowl, January 1st. Never forget it. Best day of my life. So good. There was just magical from the beginning to the end. Greatest day.
That is like a venue I want to go. That's a bucket list venue.
Yeah, it was perfect weather. I had every member of my family there together. Christian played really well, but even the leading up to it, just with being with all the other parents it was magical. I was so nervous. We did not know what was going to happen. I'll be honest, deep down inside, thought we were going to get beat and I should have thought that, but it was just the best day. It was so wonderful.
What about the best game you played in maybe before you hurt your back? Do you have a memory of that?
Let's see. There was a game early on when I remember I was getting put in and out. I don't even remember if I was a starter at that point yet, but I think I was a freshman or sophomore. I don't even remember what year, but anyway, we were playing a team and it was 0-0. Nobody scored. And we went into like double overtime. And I remember sitting on the bench going, please put me in because I'm exhausted and I want this game to be over. And they did. And I came in and I took the ball and scored. So that was a nice game.
Yes.
The funniest thing is one of our good friends, the next day they started like an athlete of the week in the Stanford Daily. And I was the very first athlete of the week with our other good friend who was it was Ed's buddy on the football team,
That's
a guy named
awesome.
Tunney. And we talk about it to this day. We laugh and it's like a black and white photo. It's so old and everything. But anyway, we are the very
That's
first
so cute.
Stanford Daily athletes of the week. So that's a little brag, but
Wait,
that's
that's
okay.
adorable. I bet you guys have, like, a bunch of memorabilia, obviously. What do you do with all of it?
Yeah, we don't have anything up in our house, I'll be honest. I know that
Uh-huh.
somebody came the other day, they're like, "Where's all the this?" I'm like, "Yeah, we don't. We have it in bins and, we do have it in bins sealed up, if they and I'll give it to the boys when they have a house or some of it
Sure.
I've given to Christian, he has a house, but yeah, we'll give it to them eventually. I don't know, it's just I love looking at it and I'm so proud of them, but I don't have it up in the house. Is that bad?
No.
Are we bad people?
No.
I don't know.
If you're anything like me, I'm so appreciative of that kind of stuff and obviously wanna keep it, but I'm also, like, don't want the clutter in a way. Is that bad?
That's terrible. You're a really bad person. No, of course not.
I'm like, as soon as I see, like, anything on the counter, I'm like, "Where does it go?" I
Yeah,
need to put it away.
put it away.
Like, if does your husband leave out cups everywhere?
Uh-huh, yeah, coffee mugs are everywhere in our house,
Coffee
yeah.
mug, cups,
Love it.
like, drinks 1 cup, sit down, grabs another cup. I'm
Yep,
like, "There was a cup
mhm,
somewhere else."
and he always thinks he doesn't put it in the dishwasher because he thinks, "Oh, I'll use it later." But then he
Always.
ends up getting another one. That was his 'cause I asked him about it, and that was his rationalization. I'm like, "Well,
Yep.
why don't you take it with you? Because it's annoying."
No, it's such a guy thing too, and
They're
I
so
feel like
annoying.
it's so annoying. But we love them, and we have to, like,
Do
get
we?
used to living
Yeah.
together, and you know what? If that's, like, the worst thing,
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
you
You're
know
gonna be
what? It's really not that bad.
right, you're gonna be alright.
Wait, you guys mentioned you love Netflix, and I always, wonder, like, what are some recent shows you've watched, or what do you guys like to binge?
Oh gosh, I we just recently watched Wednesday. Oh, that was good. It was
Love
fun. It was like a cross between Harry Potter and Stranger Things. Love that, and then we're about to start the next Yellowstone, which I heard's good. We
I'm
haven't
really
started
excited
that.
that.
What else? Oh gosh, I know this is silly, but around Christmas, I watch all those, like, dumb, like, Hallmark
Me
movies.
too.
They're so comforting and
Same.
they're predictable. Like, when the world's just completely crazy and chaotic, I'll just, like, sit in my kitchen and
Yeah.
cook and watch those movies, and they just makes me happy, but judge me, I'm a dork, but
No, I love them. Did you watch the Lindsay Lohan one on Netflix?
oh my gosh, yes, I did.
That one
Yep.
was
It
cute,
was
I
fun.
thought. Yeah,
It
I
was
liked it.
so did I. It was good. I'm a very
Yeah, I
it
love
was.
it.
Yeah, well, I forget what it was called, but when she gets amnesia type thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember the names of any of them, and they
Yeah,
all have similar plots, but, like,
yeah.
I enjoy them, like, I just feel
Me too.
good.
Me too.
Um, and I like reality TV to do that too, just, like, mindless.
Yeah, well, and I don't watch a ton of reality, but I did watch the Colpo Sisters,
I haven't
Olivia
watched that
Shaw.
yet.
You
I
haven't watched it? It's
need
pretty
to watch
good, it's good. I'll be honest, it made me wanna watch more.
Yeah.
There was a few episodes, and it made me wanna watch more. I loved it. I thought it was great because she
Well,
was so funny. She's like
Olivia mentioned you need to, like, make an appearance. Would you be
I
down
know,
for
and
that?
then she wanted to do it this year, and then Christian was like, I don't know if he was he wasn't sure about exposing us that way, but, oh, game
Okay.
on. I think next season we're gonna be on
She
with
did
it'll be
say
fun.
he's not very into it, and she
No,
respects that.
he's not into reality, it's not his thing, and that's fine, but yeah,
Yeah.
I may do that. My best friend's son works for Olivia, so she and I may end up as
Fun.
contestants, characters, whatever.
Well,
I just hope I get a rose, that's all.
yeah, no. Well,
But
hope I come back next week.
I'm gonna come in as the momager. I'm gonna come in.
Yes, I mean, you really are. You're
Yeah,
like
exactly,
a
so
Kris
controlling.
Kardashian in your own right.
Right. I'm gonna film their sex tape, everything. Kidding, I'm not. Joke.
I mean, there's one way to push the
And hey,
engagement.
whatever works, right? Whatever works.
I'm just trying to get them married. Um, are you also okay, I know you love to run. What does your, like, morning routine look like? Are you running in the morning? Does it matter what time?